Hi everybody, welcome to Jake Showcase. I do videos on Wednesdays and sometimes more. Okay, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Canadian geese. I'm going to talk about some observations that I've made about the Canadian geese. I'm going to tell you a little story, what happened to me today. Today it is May the 10th, 2016. So when it gets a little bit nicer out in Canada, I like to go a lot of times down by the river. And one of the things that I really have taken liking to is taking a look at Canadian geese. And for, most people know that the Canadian goose is the national bird in Canada. And, what I find is very, very fascinating, some of the things I find fascinating about geese is how they operate. Because I find that they have a very, very keen organization structure where when they go and eat, for example, they will always have two eating and they'll have one watching, and then they rotate. And this can be for a group of two up to a group of 10. They always have one or two watching. Now, when they see people like myself coming close to them, they'll start to honk and they'll start to alert people or alert the other birds, that there's something wrong. And generally speaking, what happens is that the group will shift away, and a lot of times, the male bird will, come up. They use their size, because they tend to be very big birds, to their advantage, and they use a lot of hissing, a lot of noise, and a lot of squawking. And if they're very upset, they'll flap their wings, right? But generally speaking, I'm really small, and so what I try to do is I try to go and sit down by the river, close to where I, know and I can see them and I can take a look at them. And, what they'll do, generally speaking, is they'll come up and, because I'm real low, and when I sit down, I'm basically the same size as a goose, and the goose can basically look me right in the eye and size me up, and usually they just go on their way. So generally speaking, they're very, very, friendly birds. They seem to be friendly as long as, you're friendly. And they're very protective, mostly of the young. And then second would definitely be of the females. And even of each other, when they sense that there's a pressure. But it's really kind of a neat thing. And also, everybody knows about their flying pattern, which is in that classic V. And that has something to do with aerodynamics. But the way that they continue to rotate, to making sure that somebody's in the front always to break the wind, and then they take turns doing that. It's very similar to how they eat, and so there's a very good organization. They have a very clear system or a hierarchy of how one female will go with one or the other. And generally speaking, it doesn't necessarily always mean that the biggest bird gets the female. It seems to be whichever bird that the female takes to, being it bigger or smaller, that tends to be the male bird that it goes with. And so today the thing that was really neat is I went around. I was looking. I did a whole bunch of things out in the regular world, and then I decided I wanted to go and chill out. And I've done this a couple times, so I don't know maybe if the birds are getting used to me or not. But today, I just decided to go and walk down, and I sat down. I was getting close to sunset right by the river, and so things were sort of calming down in the world in general, but in the bird world too. And I sat there for about an hour, and, slowly but surely, these birds started kind of coming around me, right? But not in a confrontational way. And rather, they just were just taking a look at me. Before I knew it, I had about 9 to 11 birds, 9 to 11 of Canadian geese surrounding me, just sitting, sleeping, getting ready to go to sleep. And I was just sitting there being really quiet and not saying anything. I didn't have any food or anything. I wasn't trying to feed the birds. Sometimes down at the park, they think you're going to feed them, but they could see I didn't have any food. They're just pecking away at the grass. And, I just sat there. I was really, really calm. And I just would look at the birds. And then, they would look at me. And they calm me right down. I swear to goodness. It really, really made me feel great, made me feel like I was part of their flock, right? Because they're getting ready to go to bed, and they felt comfortable enough to sort of come around me and lay down and go to sleep right in front of me, like literally almost within an arm's reach away. And I've had this on and off again back problem, like a little bit of a back issue, and I swear it felt like it just went right away. And I just felt like, you know, after going down there a whole bunch of times, maybe they got used to me, or they got used to seeing me, and you know, just I felt like by being calm, somehow that rubbed off on them, and then they felt comfortable coming around me. Even the little tiny baby geese, the moms, they weren't that close, but they were close enough, a lot closer than what you'd expect for you know, the little goslings to get close. The moms let them get close enough to me, so I felt really, really good. And so it just taught me something, you know, like I feel like you can learn a lot from nature. And you know, for me particularly, I find a real attachment to the Canadian goose because, you know, it's a big bird. It's sort of a big dominant bird in the, you know, the bird world. And I like the fact too that it goes south when it gets cold, and back north, and so it's a migrating bird, right? And you know, they're just trying to eat grass, right? They're just trying to, you know, lay low and figure things out for themselves and figure out, you know what's so being part of the Canadian goose flock today made me feel great, and I felt really inspired to you know, maybe encourage people to go out and, you know, become friends with animals. And, you know, I think in particular Canadian geese, I think they're awesome, right? And because they can teach you a lot. They teach you a lot about, you know, how to be natural, how to be your natural self, right? So that's my little story. Go Canada Goose, go Canadian Geese, and I hope that you like that, and I hope that it encourages you to get out there in nature, get in touch with nature, get in touch with yourself, get down to the river, get some fresh air, and slowly but surely let the geese chill you out. Alright? Hope you like that. Don't forget to like the video below and subscribe to the channel up above. I do my videos on Wednesdays, and I hope you have a wonderful day.